Blog Talk Radio.
Well, here we go. If it's Tuesdays, it is the show that's sweeping Ohio and the country, the American Sports History Podcast, hosted by a brother, a mentor, and a friend, Peter Ray out there in Cleveland. Yours truly, Mark Mancini, producing this in hot Los Angeles, where it's hit 106 out here at the top of the hour. So, boy, I'll tell you, the air-conditioned grids are going to go out in the state of California for sure. 347-205-9631. If you happen to miss it, I realize 30 minutes goes by quick. Catch the archive version, blogtalkradio.com/Mancini Sports. Podcast platforms, wherever you subscribe to podcasts, powered now by Mancini Media. So without further ado, as I lay the red carpet down, put the podium in its place, hand off the mic, the threes, Peter. How are you? How can people get a hold of you? And hide the wife. She loves it when Bill North comes on each and every week. And we're into the unbelievable how many times you guys have been joined at the hip here on this show. Take it away. I'll man the boards.
Hi, Mark. I'm doing well. I have a YouTube channel. It's my name, Peter J. REA. My email address is there. And you're absolutely right. Tonight's guest played Major League Baseball from 1971 to 1981 with the Chicago Cubs, Oakland A's, LA Dodgers, and San Francisco Giants. He won 2 World Series in 1973 and 74 with the A's, 395 career stolen bases. Twice he led the American League in stolen bases, 1974 and 76. More than 1,000 hits in Major League Baseball. He was the first Oakland A's DH, won a National League championship with the Dodgers in 78, 3 times led the American League in total chances per game from the outfield, twice in putouts, once in assists on a double play from the outfield. And you're right. My dear wife Alice's favorite podcast guest and the starting center fielder and leadoff hitter for the coolest MLB team of all time for the 26th time. Welcome to the show, Mr. Bill North.
Hey, Peter, how's your life?
My life is good. It's
That's
especially good
thing.
that we're doing a show with you. Now, Bill, people like me and the listeners, we spent the last 2 weeks eagerly anticipating hearing about your experience as the American League honorary captain at the All-Star game. My son called me and he said, "Hey, Dad, he was watching sometime after, but he saw the online. He saw the introduction of the game, and he said, 'Hey, Dad, come look, check this out.' And it was Bill North being introduced to the crowd, and you had a big smile and you raised your hand. My son was impressed by that. Hey, because he hears me talking about Bill North, and you were talking about you always wanted to know about what was in the bags that they gave to the players. Tell us all about your experience at the All-Star game.
Don't bring up the gift bag.
Well, why not?
Because of the fact that they had this room, and it was called Player Giving, where you could go in there, and they gave you a big old athletic bag, and they said, fill the bag with anything you want. I'm talking about jewelry, clothes, shoes, the whole thing. Peter, when I went to go in there, it had closed. I never got my gift bag.
Oh. So okay.
Well, that's all you got to worry about in life. It ain't so bad.
So, okay. Well, what else can you tell us about your experience?
I can feeling you, Peter, that was a disappointment to you because I talked about it so much.
Right.
But I consider that thing right there, with my friendship for over 50 years with Dusty Baker, a gift from him. And I was humbled by it, but what a great gift from a good friend. And it was a thing that I felt like he gave me an opportunity to have a Lifetime Achievement Award. And like I said, it put a bow around my whole baseball experience.
Were there any other old guys there?
Yeah, Cedar Gaston, Ralph Garr, Dave Winfield. Gosh, just a bunch of them. Yeah.
Okay, well that's
Lou Piniella. Oh yeah, we had a good time. Mark McLemore, Brian Hunter. Just a bunch of them.
So the gift, not to bring it up again, but you're not gonna. The gift bag was, they didn't have it all. They ought to have it, set up wherever. I guess they probably did in the old days. They had.
They would put it in your room.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But this is a thing where if you ever want to talk about a Karl Marx theory, it's called conspicuous consumption.
Okay.
And these guys that were going in there with you can go in the player giving room with a guest, would get a full bag of clothes and all of that stuff. They get, let's say, for example, they get 20 shirts. While they got 500 at home.
Right.
Conspicuous consumption. There's stuff there, and I kind of looked at, in my situation, I've collected more clothes than I even can wear.
Right.
And I give them away on occasion and stuff like that. But I figured that this is my afterthought after the experience at the All-Star game. I was running some stuff that I saw through my head, and it was an assessment of the rich making the rich richer.
Right.
Without a purpose. Okay?
Right.
There's no end game there other than accumulation.
Right.
And it was the kind of thing that it was there. They spent a lot of money, but them and their sponsors made a lot of money. Okay, and all they were doing is passing around between each other. Okay, but as far as to me, the gist of this whole experience was to be able to receive the gift that my friend gave me. It was
right.
It was a wonderful and thoughtful gift for my inclusion, and that's what I got out of all of it. Is that I'm humbled by the fact that he put me in that position and gave me that. You get 15 minutes of fame, and that was probably the last minute.
Oh no, you've got next year's World Series, 50 years anniversary.
Well, we'll see.
Huh?
We'll see, but for me,
right,
that was a gift from a friendship, a gift that I cannot even attempt to equal. And it was a wonderful thing that my friend did for me, making me an honorary coach.
Yeah, your friendship with Dusty Baker is really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. Really a beautiful thing.
Did you talk to Ralph Garr?
Gator, we go back. Gator could hit. Gator was Ichiro before Ichiro was Ichiro. Mm-hmm. Gator was swinging while running too.
Oh, right. I remember he hit 340 one year with Atlanta, I think.
Batting titles and that kind of thing. But he was a great hit. Yeah.
How about Dave Winfield? What did he have to say for himself?
Well, he's going to be on my show.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Yeah. Him and also Mark and Greg Vaughn, and who I got these are guys that got planned, and Tony Clark, the head of the MLBPA. Yeah, that's where it started. But I talked to all those guys, but you know what? Sitting down with the boys, we were in the hotel at the bar one night, and we started telling baseball lies. You ever want to have a good time? You sit down with a bunch of baseball players, old baseball players especially, and let them start telling stories. It is one of the greatest experiences you could ever imagine.
How about Lou Piniella? What did he have to say?
Yeah, Piniella. We were sitting in well, it was Scott Services, manager for the Mariners' office, but he had to be in the coaches' locker room because when you had an All-Star game, they give the All-Star manager to home team's manager's office. And we were sitting in there one time with Ralph Garr, Dave Winfield, Cito Gaston, Dusty, myself, and Lou Piniella. And you could have heard. You talk about telling stories.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this kid. Dusty Baker used to have a pitcher named Trevor Wilson, a left-handed pitcher when he was in San Francisco. A day before, his kid had got drafted, and in the second round or something like that, and Dusty made him the bat boy.
Oh,
I mean, his relationship with Trevor as one of his players and now a friend, but he's always been in touch, and he's seen this kid raised, and he got drafted the day before, and Dusty had him in the locker room the day after being the bat boy for the All-Star game.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
okay.
But when all those guys were in there, Peter, Scott Service came in there, and he saw who was in there, and he went back out of the room, and he got his camera and came and took a picture with, he said, I could never miss this picture. He had Dusty Baker, Dave Winfield, Lou Piniella, and Ralph Garman.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But all of these guys, and these guys, now when you got Cito Gaston, you got Lou Piniella, and you got Dusty Baker, you got a hell of a lot of wins in that damn office. And in Dave Winfield, he got a couple of wins, but he wasn't a manager, but he was one of the greatest athletes you could ever imagine, not only see, but ever imagine.
Right.
And he said, I couldn't miss this for the world, and took that picture, and I just laughed. But it was a wonderful, wonderful, humbling experience. And now we go back to regular life.
Right. I spent the last... Go ahead.
I got this beautiful ring, All-Star ring.
Oh.
And I'll send you a picture of it. But, Peter, you don't do texting and all that kind of stuff.
No, I don't.
But another gift from that was the most beautiful bat as a piece of art that you could imagine. And I lost it, but they found it, and they're sending it back to me. But that gift right there, this bat is stunning. I mean, the way that they painted it, and it's a piece of art. And we all got one. But this bat right here is one of the most. He is flat out the most beautiful bat I've ever seen. And I got World Series bats and all that kind, but this bat right here is a work of art that you could not imagine, and it's in the mail back to me right now. What a great experience, and God is good. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy for you that you had that, and we're glad to get some behind the scenes stories from your. Was it 3 days you were there?
Well, no, I went to the. It started pretty much for me on Friday. When Griffey Jr. had the HBCU, historically black, and colleges. And All-Star game.
Okay.
And then we did stuff on Saturday, and then everybody came in on Sunday.
Right.
And they had an alumni association party, and Baker and them got in about 11 o'clock, so it was late. And then on Monday we had the home run derby and that, and then on Tuesday we had the game. But there was I was busy, but it was a wonderful, wonderful time.
Oh, I'm so happy for you, and that's tremendous. Yeah, and it's nice to be relevant in the here and now, especially when you get into you had your career in the 70s, and that's why Dusty Baker is amazing that he's here.
Yeah. Well,
won a World Series as a manager last year. Wow.
And one of the biggest things is that our friendship was such that he, that didn't have to happen, but he thought about me.
Yeah.
And put me in that situation. And our friendship has never, ever had any shake to it or any problems with it. But he said, Billy, here we go. And it was the kind of thing that, because we used to run together. He said, Billy, watch this. We're going to run through this All-Star festivities thing. And that's what we did. But to be able to include me was something that you can't even put a parameter on. Yeah.
Well, that's tremendous. I spent the last 2 weeks, I watched game 2 of the 1973 World Series. I just wanted to say some things, and then you can comment. Actually, Willie Mays and Yogi Berra were together in 3 World Series. In 1951 with Berra with the Yankees and Mays with the New York Giants, and then 11 years later in '62, Berra with the Yankees and Mays with the San Francisco Giants. When it ended with Willie McCovey, a very exciting series. It went 7, Willie McCovey line drive, and then 11 years later again. Yeah, right at him. And then 11 years later in '73, together on the Mets at the very end of Willie Mays' career, and then that's why I think it was 4 years after the Miracle Mets, and I think the public was rooting for the Mets because of the Miracle Mets, and then Yogi Berra being beloved, and the end of Willie Mays' career. But you guys won it in 7. Now, before the game, Joe Garagiola interviewed Joe Rudi and asked him about the ball that Felix Millan hit over his head, and Rudi fell down, and Rudi said, he lost the ball in the sun. It was 80 degrees, game 2. Again, a lot of guys had trouble with the sun. Kurt Gowdy, Monty Moore, Tony Kubek announcing. Vida Blue against Jerry Koosman. The Mets won in 12 innings, 10-7. Rusty Staub was in the game, although he had a sore shoulder. Kurt Gowdy called it the longest. Huh?
He couldn't throw from the outfield.
Right. Kurt Gowdy called it the longest, weirdest game in World Series history. Mike Andrews had a couple errors in the 12th inning. That became very controversial. Bob Hope threw out the first pitch during the time when, if you did that, it was from the stands, not on the mound. And the A's had...
Right. The catcher come over to the stands, and you just flipped it out of the stand. You didn't go to the mound. Isn't that some piece? That's
yeah.
And you just reminded. I hadn't even thought about that.
And the A's wore almost all white uniforms. Monty Moore called them their polar bear white uniforms. Now in the game, in the first, Joe Rudy hit a ball that Cleon Jones lost in the sun. And then at the game, Henry Aaron was sitting next to Commissioner Bowie Kuhn. Aaron was sitting on 713 home runs. Cleon Jones had a home run. Bud Harrelson was choking up on the bat, and he had a rubber donut to keep his hands from sliding down.
Right.
Wayne Garrett hit a home run. Jesus Alou had a leg kick into the strike zone. And then there was Reggie hit a double. Staub threw the ball underhand from right field because of his sore shoulder. Now, in the ninth inning, Willie Mays was a pinch runner. John Milner signaled. Mays stumbled coming into second. Couldn't make it to third. Bottom of the ninth, the Mets were up 6-4. Darren Johnson was a pinch hitter. Fly ball to center. Willie Mays fell down. He was having trouble. And then there were two outs. Sal Bando walked, Reggie singled, and Gene Tennis singled, tying the game. Top of the 10th, Raleigh Fingers on the mound. There was Bud Harrelson got to third. Felix Millan hit a fly ball to left. Joe Rudy threw home, and Harrelson was called out. Willie Mays was the on-deck hitter, and he had a real good view. And then after, there's a great photograph where he's on his knees pleading with the umpire.
I remember that.
Audrey Donatelli, and it really looked like he missed the tag, that Fosse missed the tag. So anyway, but it didn't matter because the Mets ended up winning. And then in the Mike Andrews went into the game. He was with Dick Williams back in '67 with the Red Sox. And then, let's see, Tug McGraw went 5 innings. It turns out Willie Mays had the game-winning RBI, the last hit of his career in the 12th. And then the floodgates opened. That's when Mike Andrews had the 2 errors. There was a World Series record 11 pitchers. Game went over 4 minutes. And then Charlie Finley was really misbehaved. He had Mike Andrews declared medically unfit, and then this really led to maybe a straw that, Yeah.
Stay down.
So what are your thoughts on
Finley and Bowie Q?
So what are your thoughts on Game 2 of the 1973 World Series?
You know what, Peter? The one damn thing that permeated your assessment was the sun.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, Peter, the sun will make an ass out of anybody.
Okay.
You want to know what ball players, outfielders fear more than anything? That ball in the sun. The sun will make an ass out of you. And I'm telling you, especially that time of year in October, because it's low. And you know, usually you can get up under it when it's in the middle of summer. It's high, and you can get up under it. The ball doesn't reach because the sun's. But when in the fall, that ball, the sun is really, really low. I remember a ball hit me in my shoulder in Boston in '75, and that sun was sitting right over the roof of Fenway Park behind home plate. Never saw it. But the things, to me, I wasn't playing, but it was the kind of thing that I think it might have been exciting, but there was a comedy of errors in that.
Did Ray Fosse say whether he tagged Harrelson or not?
Never asked him. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, Yogi Berra had a fit. Of course, that was a big drama. Yogi Berra had a fit, and Bud Harrelson had a fit, and it was a big brouhaha. Of course, nothing ever happens.
Replay.
Huh?
Instant replay. Wasn't there.
Right.
But it was a game that the players played, and the umpires umpired, and it was a human game. And whether there was the factor of human being placed in front of humans gives it, to me, kind of refreshing thing that there are mistakes made, but there are also great things done. And rather than make the game so analytical and so scientific, I would rather have it that way than to have it the way it is now.
Darren from Wichita Falls. Hey, guys, I really enjoy the show. Captain North talking about the bag. Gary from Sugarland, Texas. Are there any more gift bags to be distributed? Just having fun. This show every week is a gift that keeps on giving.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Lance from Pensacola, Florida, listening to two humble guys doing a show. That's a treat in itself. Thanks so much, Lance. Joey from Bucks County, Pennsylvania, he's talking about his top 5 players. Dave Winfield, Shohei Ohtani, Clayton Kershaw, Ronald Acuna, and Giancarlo Stanton.
Well, my top 5 would be different, but you mix a old guy in with current players, and there were some guy, that's an anomaly. But he picked those guys, current players. I saw them last week, and some of them guys can play, boy. I'm going to tell you, batting practice was something to behold. The way, the difference between the way we used to take batting practice and how they do now. These guys hit every ball, 90% of the pitches thrown to them the other way. And I was looking at the right-handed hitters, and when the ball comes down, it comes down in an arc with a curve on it, and the same thing the other way for left-handed. And it was to watch that batting practice right there. The one thing you do when you hit the ball the other way is you can't pull your head, and you're not trying to do things with the ball. You just go that way. But this one guy, it's the kid named Arias, the guy that's sitting at 380.
Right now, hit 380. Wow, didn't know that.
Miami, I think that's Miami, isn't it?
Wow.
Or yeah, I think it's Miami or Tampa. He's leading the world in hit, and this kid, you talking about a hitter? His name, you spell it Arraez, and boy, he's amazing. And then he went to All-Star game and popped out 2 hits on the first 2 pitches he saw.
So the Mike Andrews controversy was that the final reason why Dick Williams resigned?
No.
He was going to leave anyway.
Well, Dick Williams was tired of Charlie.
Right. That was ridiculous. Finley. I mean, that whole thing. When you read it, you think, what was this guy was acting like a little kid?
Well, what the deal was is that, Dick was his own man, and Charlie couldn't talk to Dick the same way that he usually talked to his manager. I remember Bobby Winkles, who was a good friend of mine, When he was at Arizona State, he didn't like me too much because we used to play against him. And I used to beat his guys up, and then trot off the field. He had his players running off the field, and he told them, "Don't act like him." But he was my manager, but he used to get a call from Charlie 6:30 in the morning, and Charlie would wake him up with, "Get out of that bed. Only hookers make money in bed." And if that's what you're hearing every morning, that might not be the job you want to keep.
The time has flown by. Our guest has been Mr. Bill North, the coolest the center fielder and leadoff hitter for the coolest MLB team of all time, the Oakland A's from the 1970s. Bill, do you have any final words tonight for our audience?
Peter, thank you for asking me about my experience, and I love our audience and the questions they bring, and I hope that they continue to stay with us. God bless and keep all of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and 2 weeks from now, if you have any more stories from the All-Star Game, we'd like to hear them. And thanks so much for coming on again tonight. It's always a gift,
Peter,
wonderful experience. Yeah.
2 weeks from now, when I come on, those stories will have grown.
Well, they'll be even better. Yeah.
Exponentially.
Right.
And they've gotten big. They have what we call yeast in them. They get bigger and bigger and bigger. Well,
wonderful having you on, and you're my dear wife Alice's favorite podcast guest because you have a good heart and a good sense of humor. So thanks so much, Bill, for coming on again.
Yeah, thank you for including me. I appreciate it.
Okay, next week our guest will be Matthew DiBiase. We'll talk NFL history. We'll talk about Mike McCarthy, two of the greatest coaches of all time. Mike McCarthy, who coached the Packers and currently the Cowboys, and Bud Grant, who coached the Vikings for many years in the old days and got them to 4 Super Bowls. Dear listener, may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Good night, everybody. Thanks a million. Mr. Bill North.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.